What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another vlog post with Nevs. Today we're going to discuss a few different topics. First, I would like to discuss the content ID changes that have been taking place on YouTube. Second, I would like to discuss my feelings about the reactions of some towards the changes on YouTube. Third, I would like to discuss the future of gaming on YouTube. And lastly, I would like to talk about how these changes will affect my channel. First, let's discuss the content ID changes that have been happening on YouTube. YouTube has always had a content ID system in place. How the system works, to my understanding, is that a developer puts content, video or audio, into a database. YouTube's system periodically scans all YouTube videos and flags the video for copyright when it finds matches. Before the changes, affiliate partners who were signed on with the network were immune to the scan. We were able to post virtually whatever we wanted and only had repercussions if a developer representative actually found the content in person and found it to be in breach of copyright. The developer could then choose to put a copyright strike or a content ID claim on a video. Copyright strikes are far more deadly to an account. 3 strikes and an account is deactivated. Strikes can often expire after a 6-month period, at the discretion of the copyright holder. However, copyright strikes are very rare. In most cases, with game footage, copyright strikes come from posting early footage of a game unless the poster has given written permission to do so. The change that occurred affects the scanning of affiliate partners. While affiliates were immune to these scans before, affiliates are now subjected to these scans. All this means is that partners can no longer hide behind a network and use it as an excuse to post copyrighted material. One problem with this system is that many of the copyright holders had no say in this process. Developers such as Ubisoft and Capcom have made public statements stating they had nothing to do with this, and to contact them and get these claims removed. Another issue with the current release of this iteration of the system is that when the system finds copyrighted material, it automatically assumes it is in breach of copyright, and sometimes disputing these claims can take up to a month. The final issue is that a slew of faulty copyright claims have been hitting YouTube, where a video is being claimed although the person claiming it does not actually own the copyright. The big concern right now with gaming footage seems to be with background music. The system has copies of the music, and when it notices copyright music in the background of a game, it automatically flags it with a content ID claim. What this means is that at random times, people making legitimate gaming-related content may not be able to monetize their videos for up to a month after posting the video. Most content on YouTube gets the most hits when it is first released, so this can be detrimental to a legitimate YouTuber. I strongly believe that this change hurts the overall community and that the staff at YouTube are failing to see the benefits that monetization of game footage has for everyone. Monetization allows for time and effort to be put into producing professional content that can compete with standalone websites such as IGN and GameSpot. And it helps to avoid gaming companies paying out for high review scores. This puts the power into the hands of the consumer, allowing one to research a game before forking $60 for a new title that could potentially suck. When you have only a couple of sources to obtain news like this, it allows for extreme bias. With the creation of YouTube, we have many sources to obtain our information from. Another way this helps the community, and where I believe the future of gaming online will derive itself, is with indie developers. There's a wonderful time for developers to just be starting out. If a huge YouTube channel were to play a small indie game, this allows millions of people who may not have otherwise seen the game to learn about it. This can actually make or break a game, given the size of YouTube here at the end of 2013. A great example of this is Minecraft. Social media shot this game into stardom, but starting out, it was a startup. Without social networking to spread the word, I feel this game would have been far less successful. Companies such as Nintendo have opted to not allow people to monetize their footage, and I strongly believe this will hurt their sales in the long run. If a YouTuber cannot monetize their footage, they will be less likely to play it. Therefore, Nintendo games will see far less exposure from large YouTube outlets than they might otherwise have had. Without monetization of game footage, the quality of reviews, blogs, gameplay footage, etc. would be far less than it is today. That's not to say there isn't a lot of crap on YouTube, but the channels that are productive and professional are the ones that see the most success. Now, I want to discuss the reactions of some that I have seen on YouTube towards this issue. This is a bit of a rant, so if you don't care to hear it, you can fast forward a bit to the next point. Many large YouTube channels have made videos talking about this subject, discussing much of what I have said in my previous point, and some of the top-rated comments suggest that YouTube is not a real job and that we deserve to have monetization rights revoked. Some seem to believe that we should have to put in this effort for free and that monetization should not be granted to YouTubers. Some seem to believe that working a 9-to-5 job is the only career path available and that we should stick to this because it is quote-unquote safe, and that what we are doing is unprofessional. I am here to tell you that each and every claim here is false, and that anyone who believes YouTube cannot be a viable income fails to understand what a job entails. Most of the people making these claims are most likely under the age of 18 or are very uneducated. First, monetization allows the best content to be produced, because time is money. If someone is looking to spend a lot of time on creating content for YouTube for others to consume, they need some sort of compensation for this. If you remove the compensation, you also remove the supply. If someone believes that YouTube is any less safe than a 9-to-5 job, then this person has never actually worked a 9-to-5 job. When I was growing up, I worked in the fast food industry for a year. This was my first job at the age of 16. After a year, with no notice, the restaurant I worked at went out of business. We simply had a representative come in and tell us to close up shop and that we were done. Luckily, I was young at the time and had a supportive family, but others I worked with were not as fortunate. The ones that claim a 9-to-5 job is any more secure than YouTube have never heard of a layoff before. Companies lay off employees all the time, and if you ask relatives or friends, you will most likely find someone who has experienced this position taken away from them. My point being, gaming on YouTube may not last forever, but the odds are in our favor for the reasons I stated in my first point. Nobody is safe from losing their job. I am a password hack away from losing all my videos and the money that I have earned from monetization, but this is no different from anyone else in the working world. If a company decides that they don't need you anymore, they will get rid of you and you'll be forced to find something else to do. But the skills I have taken away from my experience on YouTube will last a lifetime, and that is what's important here. I have a stronger knowledge of the modern social networking atmosphere, I have learned how to keep an audience tuned in and interested, and I have harnessed the entrepreneurial spirit in developing my channel into what it is today. These are all amazing talking points for resume and ones that I have used and will continue to use in the future. To say that a YouTube career is unsustainable, unprofessional, and that I do not deserve it are all ignorant, insulting statements made by fools for the reasons I have given. Now, I'd like to talk about the future of gaming on YouTube. With the recent content ID changes, I feel that this calls for a reworking of copyright law. Fair use laws are very gray and do not apply to every situation. And we need, now more than ever, more concrete ways to identify what is allowed and what is not as far as the use of copyrighted material goes. If YouTube wants to push out gamers, that is fine. Gamers on YouTube will find another outlet that won't push them out. However, I do not believe that YouTube wants this. I believe by changing the system, they are simply covering their own ass from companies that may seek to do them harm, such as Viacom in the late 2000s. If a consensus can be met on copyright laws, everyone will have a lot less problems to deal with. However, I do not expect this to be resolved anytime soon, as there are far too many special interests involved in the politics of it. Many developers have recognized the benefits of allowing monetized gameplay footage and are allowing it. The companies that are not need to get out of the way. The ones not allowing it will see a decrease in their sales and may eventually change the policy for it. Luckily, this isn't most companies, and I can continue to work as I normally do. With YouTube gaming still on the rise, we will see an increase in success for indie developers, which provide copies of their games to large YouTube outlets for review. Even if a large outlet doesn't rate a game highly, at least that game saw potentially millions of views worth of exposure that they would not have seen without YouTube. Finally, I would like to discuss how these changes will affect my channel. There won't be a lot of changes around here, but there are a few things I would like to touch on. First, I will continue to play older games, such as I have been doing lately, because I find that the Content ID system typically does not flag these types of games. The main reason is because older games do not use big budget music. Until the copyright issues are sorted out with music suppliers, I will try to avoid newly released games until they age a bit. The only exception for this are ones where a developer gives me written permission to record footage of that game. I will also be pre-playing most of the games I do walkthroughs for, because I feel walkthroughs are more beneficial to the YouTube community. There are way too many Let's Plays out there of people just stumbling through a game on day one in order to bank on the fact that the game was just released. This provides for shallow content that does not have nearly as much weight as a helpful walkthrough with a knowledgeable commentator. I am, in fact, guilty of this, as I used to do only blind run Let's Plays of games, and at one time was so caught up in the money that all I wanted to do was play the new releases. The hobby quickly became uninteresting, and I quit posting to the sites I was posting to for a period of about 6 months. If you do not stay true to what you love, it will reflect in the content that you post. I will be taking my time to learn about the games I do walkthroughs for before I actually do them, in the majority of cases. The only time I feel it may be appropriate to post a blind run footage is when a game is highly story-driven. It can be entertaining for the viewer to see a first-time reaction to a story that the commentator has never experienced before. A good example of this is the Telltale Games The Walking Dead series, because the game is very story-focused. However, this will not be the focus of my channel going forward, and you can expect to see a wealth of valuable yet entertaining walkthroughs for games that I love. And I have already touched on this with my Age of Empires and Warcraft 3 walkthroughs, and continue to do this with my Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep series. These walkthroughs provide constructive strategies to help beat the game, which is more valuable to the viewer. I also am planning to potentially open a side channel in extension to this one that I will be posting music production tutorials and music on. I have a love for electronic music and would like to begin posting helpful tutorials teaching people about fundamentals of sound design, arrangement, and general tips for Ableton Live 9. I will continue to post any tracks that I write to the TehNevs channel. However, people subscribe to the TehNevs channel to see game footage and not music tutorials. Therefore, I would like to keep these separate. This is something I plan to do down the road and have not yet decided the exact logistics of how I'm going to do it and when I'm going to begin doing it. In conclusion, I hope everyone has found this vlog both informative, enlightening, and fun. I hope that we can make 2014 an amazing year full of awesome gaming experiences, and I hope to see the issues currently going on with YouTube ironed out. I am optimistic about the future of gaming on YouTube, so let's make 2014 the best year yet. I love all of you guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.